While the host of Sisters in Arms have taken every precaution to ensure that the content of this program is both current and accurate, errors can occur. The host assumed no responsibility or liability for any errors or omission in the content of this program.
The information contained in this program is provided on an as-is basis with no guarantee of completeness or accuracy. The opinions of the guests are not necessarily the same as the hosts.
Welcome to Sisters in Arms. I'm Carrie Ann Alclair.
And I'm Renee Gagne, and together we serve as a Second Amendment resource for our communities.
And today we're going to be discussing pepper spray. There's a lot of gun-free zones in Massachusetts and across the state.
Across the nation.
Yeah, across the nation, yep. Yeah. And there is, pepper spray is another tool to add to your tool belt. So we're going to talk about that and what pepper spray is.
This is not a prop.
It's not a prop.
We have our injured person here going to defend herself. So when you fall off an ATV, we have to find the silver lining, and here we go. We're going to do this today. So the last couple of episodes we did, we discussed gun-free zones. Right?
Yes.
We talked about schools. We
Soft
talked
targets.
about being soft targets, and what can you do if you can't carry a gun?
Yes, and so when I can't carry a gun, I usually have pepper spray and I have a knife. I'm prepared. I might have my purse over my shoulder. There's a lot of different things that you can do to kind of prepare yourself. But the biggest thing is situational awareness, as we talked about this many times before in a couple of shows in the past. But yeah, let's talk about what is pepper spray.
So pepper spray, capsaicin, is the most pungent, the major capsaicinoid, and it's often referred to as the active ingredient Oleoresin capsicum, which is pepper spray.
And thank God you're saying that, because I can never say it.
I have to see it spelled out sometimes, like the major capsinoid.
Yep. Also known as OC.
OC. So when you're shopping, and I found this in the community, when you're shopping for pepper spray, flip the container over or the packaging and see what the ingredient is.
Right.
You want it to say Oleoresin capsicum.
Yep.
If it has tear gas or other things, not saying that you can't use that, but depending on what your state laws are, you may not be able to. So it's very important to look at that ingredient label.
Right.
And expiration. They expire.
And you can't have it by law if you're a certain age too. Which
Correct.
We have
well, in
talked about that
Massachusetts, yeah. So in
lot.
Massachusetts, if you're under 18, 15 to 17, you need to have an FID card.
Yep.
And under 15, you just can't have it.
Which makes no sense, but
Yeah.
we're not going to go there. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah, so that's Massachusetts.
Yep. And there's different types of pepper spray too. There's gel, there's spray, there's foam, and each one requires you to spray it in a different way, and each one has a different distance, and it affects either quickly or not as quickly. So those are the things to consider as well.
So taking a class on pepper spray is very advantageous.
Yeah,
for sure.
And people didn't realize, I mean, when I first started and we became pepper spray instructors, I didn't even know beforehand that there was such a thing.
Right.
So I'm excited.
You mean you didn't know there were classes?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. I didn't know there was classes. So, and people don't understand. They're like, well, I just, point and spray. But it's a little bit more than that.
And, for sure.
And we'll go into it.
What hand you hold it with, what finger you use to spray. Like it's things that, you got to be taught this stuff.
Exactly. And then we were talking about, situational awareness too, because that is part of the class. That's a big thing that's part of the class, to learn how to avoid the situation at all costs. And we talk about the Cooper awareness, the situation Cooper color awareness, the yellow, white, yellow, orange, red, and black. But I know we had a picture of that as well, but we can pop that in another time. So let's talk about a little bit more about pepper spray. So what do you think about it?
I love it. I love it because living in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, there are a lot of places that I can't carry. So if for some reason I had a gun and had to use it and it didn't work, then what?
Right.
So I think having multiple tools with you is a good idea.
You know what I found? A couple of my friends actually had this on the bottom of their purse.
On the bottom? Inside?
In the bottom of their purse. I said, what's the point of having it?
How would they get it?
Exactly. So we should talk about that too, because
Yeah.
this is a small one.
That's a practice.
Right,
full
it's
of
water. It's water,
Yeah.
but there's a small one that can actually slide into your pocket. That's actually, it's just the canister itself.
Yeah, and it has a clip on it.
Yep, and then other ones have a keychain, but again, most of the time your keys are in the bottom of your purse. So,
Right.
and then there's bigger ones that you can have on the side of your bed. That's like, I forget, does it shoot 50 feet? Or
I think 30.
30 feet.
Yeah.
But it's a bigger canister, like big. And then
Yeah.
there's another one that a lot of the cops use, and
Right.
they have that on the side of their belts.
Yeah. It will say it how far it shoots.
Yeah.
On the packaging.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that pepper spray does work. Like we had a video, we're not going to play it today, but there was a pepper spray class show that we did a while back,
Yeah.
and in that pepper spray
I think it was like our
show-
third episode
Yeah, it might have been
or
a third
something.
episode. We actually played a video of that gentleman that
In
got
our
sprayed,
fourth
and it
episode.
knocked him right down.
Yeah.
Wasn't he an MM?
MMA fighter, yeah.
Yeah. So, you being a nurse,
Yeah.
why don't you? Could you explain to us kind of like the effects of what
Oh
happens?
gosh, yeah. So when you get hit with pepper spray, it's kind of crazy that it's pepper, because when you get hit with it, it feels like a lot more than that. I've never been hit with it, but I know what it's like to walk in a room and have a lot of pepper in the room and what it does to your eyes and your nose. But when you get hit with pepper spray, you're pretty much incapacitated. You feel like you can't breathe. Of course you can breathe. There's nothing documented that anyone has died that I could find from pepper spray.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful, less lethal option.
Right.
If you're in a room full of people and you had to, for some reason, pull your gun out, there was a threat and there were too many people around, you can't shoot in that situation. So the pepper spray.
Gotta be well trained.
Yeah, so with the pepper spray, if you accidentally hit someone while spraying,
No one's going to die.
it's going to
gonna
be
go
very
away.
uncomfortable, but we can have a conversation about it in 60 minutes when everything's,
Kind of settle down.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my daughter had found an old pepper spray. It looked like a pen.
Oh, yeah.
She thought it was a marker.
Oh, no.
So she opened it up and sprayed it. Thank God she didn't spray it in her face, but it was probably over like 20 years old.
Probably expired,
and
yeah.
it made the whole basement stink so bad, so I can't even imagine. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is that? And my son comes running up. I'm like, and it was 30 years old. It was
Oh,
old.
gosh, so it was so expired.
Right, but
Yeah.
even then, the effects of it was enough where we had to open the windows, open the door. You know, you could feel it in the back of your throat. It felt like you were going to start coughing, you know. So
Right.
I can't imagine what it would feel like if you had like
Right.
a fresh canister. And let's talk about that too, because there's an expiration date on that, right?
Right. So I was in the community, actually. I was at a gun shop. We had the DC Project table, and we were doing some advocacy and education work. And I could hear some scuttling talking in the background near the pepper spray. And the man was with his wife, and he wanted to get her some pepper spray. And he said, "Excuse me, can you help me with this?" And I said, "Well, let me get someone who works here." So I got the clerk, went over to help him. And he asked if it expired, and the clerk said no.
Right.
And, you know, I try to be quiet as much as I can, but as soon as I hear something like that, like this could potentially harm you, not knowing that it expires.
Because all of a sudden it trickles out. You're like, oh my
Right.
God.
So the pepper per se doesn't expire, but the chemicals that cause it to expel from the
Right.
container,
Yeah.
those expire. So if you don't have, it's kind of like an aerosol spray can, you know.
Yeah, the
you know,
aerosol expires.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. So when you spray, you know, you ever get it with the hairspray, you spray and it's just like, it just dribbles
Trickles.
down like it's not right.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen with the pepper spray.
Yeah, excuse me, bad guy.
Yeah, that is not something that you want to happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no.
So it definitely expires.
You know what I found funny when we did the course to become instructors? There was a few things that I didn't even realize. Even when we had somebody come to our Armed Women of America course and did a little pepper spray, that's where I learned, I'm like, oh, I wasn't even thinking that. Because me, for example, here I am in crutches and I'm injured in my left hand. I'm right-handed. Typically, I would have my pepper spray in my right-hand pocket, but my firearm's also my right side.
Right.
So we talked about how some people could have it in the non-dominant hand, so you have an option because you can easily maneuver by using that with your thumb. It's non-dominant, but pushing your thumb down with your non-dominant, it's a lot easier. And then you have that capability to use your firearm if you need to. But that's just an opinion, of course. Everybody has a different way of carrying it.
Right.
Would you do the same thing?
So,
because you're left-handed.
I had some training before Matt Mallory got to us, and Matt Mallory is amazing. If you can ever find a pepper spray class with him, he is like the pepper spray guru. He writes the material. So, and he goes nationwide with his classes. So, I was trained to use it in the non-dominant hand.
Yep.
No, I was trained to use it in the dominant hand, which made sense to me because I'm like, well, obviously I'm going to have the most dexterity in my dominant hand. And so the question was asked, well, if you have your gun in your dominant hand, how do you get the pepper spray? Well, you would just simply drop the gun and then grab the next tool. However, that takes time.
I think it takes seconds.
So,
at least when you're like this,
right.
you're already in that motion of like preparing yourself to move your shirt out of the way. Think about it. Some people, we typically we conceal. So that means we have a shirt, we have a sweater, we have things that we got to contend with to quickly, maneuver that firearm to be in that position to get ready if we need to use it for the next step. Because God forbid this fails.
Right. But take the firearm out of it.
Right.
Take it out of the whole equation and just think about, I'm going to stand up to show you because I think sometimes a demonstration is best.
Your
Do I have my mic?
Your mic's on you. You're good.
So if you do it in your dominant hand, we could talk about ATM, right?
Oh, yes.
First you're going to ask them, why are they coming near you?
Right.
Right? And then once you realize that this person is meaning harm to you, you would ask them, to tell them to stop, and then if they didn't stop, you would make them stop.
Right. So I would do something like, "What are you doing? Do you need something?"
So were you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
So you're right-handed. So you put your right hand out.
Yep, which I just did instinctively.
So when you put go with this because this is what made me change my mind about not using my dominant hand. So most people, when they do the stop, they do it with their dominant hand.
Right.
The bad guy's looking at what's in his face, which is your dominant hand.
Right.
While this is in his face, you're pulling this out.
Right.
He's not seeing what you're doing here because you're distracting him with this. If you do it the other way, it's here. You're doing this. As soon as you go like this, you've just televised that you're getting something.
Right. And like, what are you doing? What do you need?
Right.
And then you might come back as, oh, my daughter's in the car. She's choking. I need help. And a lot of times it's always, and you being the nurse could be like, oh my God, where is she? Where is she? But all of a sudden, like I got goosebumps because you think about that being a real scenario, and that guy could be easily trying to wheel you in because maybe he knows you were a nurse.
Right. That would be the woman that the man sent because there's two bad guys.
And then you're going to be like, where? And all of a sudden you're running to the car.
And I got my head in the car.
But that's where it comes down to, like, you're looking around, you're looking in the car. Well, there's no kid. The kid's fine. Whoa, what's going on now? And you're looking around, you're trying to figure it out. So sometimes there's a decoy that's added into the mix. Right. And other times it could be, you tell them, say, back up, you're making me uncomfortable. Let me call 911, your child's choking. Okay, where? I'm calling 911 right now. Carrie, I need your help. Then you got more people in numbers.
Right.
Because we don't know the situation.
Right.
And then back up, and then you make that decision. If they keep coming toward you, right?
Right.
And you say, back up, you're making me uncomfortable, and they keep coming towards you, you kind of follow those spidey instincts.
Right. That's why I love ATM.
Yeah.
Right? Ask, tell, make.
And during the class, when you go to a pepper spray class, you actually go through this scenario. They have you outside, a line over here, someone over here is the bad guy, you're the good guy, and they switch roles. And so you get that time to be like, whoa, what are you doing? What do you need? Back up, you're making me uncomfortable. Act. And then if they're in your face, then they go into other scenarios as well, you know, that kind of help you, you know, get to that point.
So once you spray them, they don't see anything but the last thing they saw before you sprayed them.
So that's why it's imperative to...
So you have to move. You get the heck out of the way.
But what do you do when you move too?
Lateral movement, left or right.
They might be looking for another bad person. Guy. Yeah, because they usually do go in pairs.
But the biggest thing is you spray and you stand because you're like, you can't believe what's happening.
Right.
You have to get the heck out of the way. Go left, go right. Don't back up because he's going right for where he saw you last.
And they teach you that with firearms too.
Right.
So if you have to use your firearm, boom, 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 look, move, and get out.
Right.
You know, and so and it's funny because when we did that at our chapter meeting, and I was the
you were
good
the
guy.
victim. Yeah.
I ran, and as I was running, I was on the phone with 911, telling them right away where I was.
Right.
Then explain to them what happened. I need you now. I'm at blah, 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 blah. Come now, you know. And then you can explain to them later. But yeah, but think about what most women have on their shoulders. And this, I always think about this because my kids were 17 months apart. So I always had one kid on the hip. I had the baby, you know, the baby carrier in the other arm, a diaper bag over my head. You know, women are we're more targeted, right? Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
So it's like I never thought about those scenarios back then. I thought about, you know, kidnapping scenarios, but I never thought about pepper spray. I wasn't involved in being part of the firearm community. And so now that we are, I think this is really such a great opportunity to teach women specifically non-lethal and lethal means of protecting themselves.
Because at the end of the day, the last thing you want to do is draw your gun.
Yeah, that's the last
So
last
if you can
alternative.
spray someone with this and get the heck out of there, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not going to jail for pepper spray.
No, and you're not going to have to deal with all that legal mumble-dumble, jumble-crumble.
Right.
Yep.
So women are targeted, but also gun-free zones are targeted. 94% of all mass shootings happen in a gun-free zone. So another reason why you should have pepper spray.
Yeah. And I don't think people hear the term soft targets, and really all that means ultimately it's a gun-free zone. So when you label that on a store or whatever and it says gun-free zone, it's just really telling the bad guy, hey, these people in here, I'm not carrying them.
I'm not
carrying.
meeting
I'm not
resistance in this
right.
place.
Exactly.
Right.
So I'm going to go in, and I'll probably be able to rob the store, get my money, do what I got to do, and get out.
Right.
You know. In the meantime, you pray to God that they just go in, get the money, and go out, and there's no other casualties that are, you know, and that's a scary thing. So I think pepper spray is really great. So for me, for example, this is why I have crutches here.
Because you're going to use those on me. Oh, God. I feel like
really.
I wish I wore a brace or something.
Oh, crap! Sorry! I didn't mean to leave.
Yeah, we never practiced this. We're doing this on camera for the first time, so we're going to see how it goes. I hope I don't fall off the stage. Just keep rolling, keep rolling. It's going to make a good show.
We'll have bloopers.
So we're going to go back to ATM.
Okay.
If you get approached, you're going to ask them, what do they want? What are they doing? Why are they near you?
Right.
And then you're going, so that's the A. The T, tell them to stop. And M, make them stop.
Right.
Now, it's quite possible that somebody could just be wanting directions. Like, let's not freak out and just be like, psh. Like, can we get through the ATM before we start spraying people with pepper spray?
Yeah, because it could be something as simple, oh my God, my kid's locked in the car. And
Right.
of course, I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's 90 degrees out. Where's your car? I'm going to call 911 right now.
Right.
So as soon as you call 911, if in fact they were planning on doing something bad, they're probably going to back up because you are just on the phone
They don't want to
calling
be anywhere
911.
near 911. The other thing too is making distance. That is very important.
Right.
You want to create a distance,
Right.
So you don't want to back away if there's an attack, but to back away from somebody, that's perfectly fine.
It gives you more room to react and handle a
Correct.
situation.
Correct.
You know.
Absolutely.
And being in this condition, I'm on crutches. My hands are, I got to think of those things.
Right.
What would happen if I'm getting out of the car, going to the store, and I'm probably going to be more the victim than anything. I got a purse over my head.
Think of weapons that bad guys have that you could not get hurt with if you just create the distance.
Right.
If they have a knife, they can only knife you as far as they can reach,
Right.
unless they're going to throw it at you, which they're probably not going to do, because then they just lost their weapon.
And that would be my weapon.
Right.
I would be able to get that,
Right.
push the guy or a person or a girl away from me enough where I could back up.
Right.
Even if I fell because I'm unbalanced, I'm able to still use my pepper spray.
The scary thing with that is if he's outpowering you, which most likely he's going to, because you're a woman that's injured, he's probably going to grab the crutch from you,
Right.
and maybe use it on you,
Right.
or whatever. So
It's tough.
it's
so many scenarios.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
You just want to use everything you can as hard as you can. The element of surprise. He's not surprised that he's attacking you. He knew exactly the moment that was going to happen.
We don't have that plan.
Right. We don't know
We didn't
that.
plan it. They did.
Right. We have to train to react quickly because it's not normal, right? It's not normal to, and they're going to do it when you least expect it.
Right. Right. So it's
we're gonna go through a little drill right now.
Oh,
You're
boy.
gonna least expect what I'm gonna do to you.
Oh boy.
Okay. This is water. I'm gonna wear sunglasses.
We know
'cause
it's water
I
'cause
know
it's
you're
blue.
a good shot, and I know you're gonna get it right in my eye. So I'm gonna wear my sunglasses.
Okay.
Okay.
And honestly, what I probably would do if, let's just say I'm sitting at a restaurant, I'm sitting, I have my foot up or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I have a purse over here, maybe wrapped around me, or maybe you want my kid, who knows.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you what it is, what's happening.
Okay.
You're in Starbucks.
Oh, cool.
10 minutes before it closes, nobody's here. The barista just went out back to dump her whatever side project she's got going on because she wants to get out of here, okay? This is really happening, okay? So I walk in the door. Now, I can't really do much because I got this little area here. Okay, so I'm walking in the door.
I'm just drinking my coffee.
I'm a big burly guy.
Oh,
okay.
If it was
big
hot
burly
coffee, I could use that too.
Do not throw that at me.
Hey, can I help you?
Yeah. Do you?
Oh,
have
wait,
the
wait. You're
Oh, I
you're
just
too
wanna,
close. I don't
just want to
care.
know what the time is. Then what are you gonna do? You're not laughing.
No, I'm going to crawl my butt
Okay.
away
You're
if
gonna
I had to.
unload that
Yeah.
on my face,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
I
Right.
just didn't want to get.
Okay, don't spray it again, but that was really good spray. Holy moly. Soaked. All right here, soaking wet. So that's good. Did you go like this?
I did,
Yeah,
but I got this.
Yeah, but I think that's the whole purpose of swishing back and forth. Because if you just go like this and he moves his head, it's all going this way.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So excellent that way.
And then as soon as she's gotten sprayed, she's already doing this.
Oh yeah, the minute I get hit, I'm like,
I'm getting out of this.
Right.
Whether it's crawling, whether it's grabbing my crutch, whether I start screaming, grabbing my phone, trying to crawl and
you could even whack him with your crutch.
Yeah,
after
and be like, hey, push.
whatever you have to do. Whatever you have to do. That was good.
Yeah.
But it's hard to imagine that it's happening, especially when we're friends. Like when the instructor's doing it to you, it's a little scarier because you don't know him as well.
Right.
And it's just you have to practice. You know?
You do.
You just have to practice. If you think that you're going to, did you use your thumb?
I did.
Okay, that's another thing. People want to go like this.
They want a hairspray, and
Right.
you got to use your thumb.
Right, because this digit isn't as strong as this digit.
Right.
Okay, so it doesn't feel natural to grab it with your thumb.
Right.
You know, especially if you're a shooter, everything's with your trigger finger, right?
Right.
So you just automatically want to grab it with your trigger finger,
Right.
but that's not the strongest digit. You want pressure with the biggest pad, and that's your thumb.
Right.
So it would be your thumb.
And it's there's a lot more to
Oh
it.
gosh, there's 3-hour class.
The class,
we could teach.
yeah, it's 3-4 hour class. I mean, they go into like situational awareness, and if you're not familiar with it, again, it's called the Cooper color codes. So Google it online, and it will kind of give you a little bit of a breakdown. And we're not going to go into that because we literally have like 4 minutes left. But I think this is super, super important. Anybody, regardless of whether or not they can have a firearm, maybe they have disqualifiers, or maybe they're not sure if they want a firearm, but they want to protect themselves, this is a great, option. This is a great alternative.
This is a great opportunity for kids to protect themselves.
Yeah, if you have that age limit that's allowing you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I mean, that's just Massachusetts.
Exactly.
There are a lot of states that let you have pepper spray because, let's be serious, it's a food, right?
Right.
So,
but I think this is great. And practice. Training,
so the class
training.
is a lot of drilling.
Right.
It's a lot of grab a partner, you're going to be the attacker, you're going to be the poor person who had no idea it was coming. So the classes are really fun. By the end of the class, you already have in your head.
You kind of bonded with everybody, too. It's kind
we
of
bonded
funny.
with bad
We
guys.
bonded with bad guys.
It was fabulous.
And the things that people come up with, the scenarios. Okay,
yeah.
you can make up whatever you want. They're like, oh, that was a good one.
but the time, I mean, nobody has a watch on because we all use our phones, right?
Right.
But that's a perfect example of a bad guy taking that opportunity to
That's why it's super, super
Yeah.
important, situational awareness.
They're looking for someone without a watch.
Yep.
So they can go up to you and say, hey, what's the time? That's their way in.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
There's a lot
hey,
of
what
things.
happened to you? That I had that same injury last week. It's unbelievable how they're going to get their way in to talking to you.
They're crafty.
Yeah.
They're crafty, and they work in peers most of the time.
Right.
So it's imperative to, again, we got 2 minutes, but it's imperative to know and understand that pepper spray, you buy it, it's a tool. Make sure your tools are readily available, if you need it.
And train.
Yep, it's so super important. But, oh my God,
We're
where'd
out
the
of
time
time.
go? This was fun.
Well, thank God we didn't try to teach the class in this.
Thank God I didn't stand up. I'd probably fall backwards. But hey, that's a good scenario. That's real life right there. So thank you for joining us. If you have any questions at all, if you want to learn more about pepper spray or find out more about the classes, we can definitely direct you to someone that can help.
Yeah.
So
Sisters in Arms 2022, send us an email at gmail.com.
until then, stay safe,
And
keep
be
training,
vigilant.
and be vigilant.